hit on another topic we don't often get to have space in, and that's mental wellness, mental health. Right? It's deep in our community to say, oh, therapies for white people.
Right.
Oh, we just pray it away. We don't tell our business.
Yeah.
What does mental wellness look like for you, Takitha? How do you hold space for yourself in times where maybe it might be shaky, maybe it's a little off balance? Talk to me about what you do.
My go-to for holding space for myself during challenging times is silence. That's been kind of more so recently. That's my main go-to now, is kind of pulling away, tapping into the Most High. Prayer is one thing, and I think meditation is another. They're a bit similar, but kind of withdrawing from me trying to fix or solve or having an expectation and just letting things be, just starting from that place. I don't share this very often. I'm just kind of this year started talking a bit about anxiety, and that I suffer from pretty severe anxiety. And so when I'm finding myself revving up, that's the first place that I have to go to, is to create peace and stillness and to remind myself that I'm safe. My anxiety is usually triggered around me feeling a lack of safety and security. And so for me, sitting still and being calm is like the first step. And then also be ahead of that, ahead of any kind of trigger that might pop up, I also have to be aware of the things that will set off a triggered moment, which means I have to be responsible for my mental health. I can't just let things happen and then react and be like, oh my gosh, my mental health is not being taken care of, or expect for other people to do something to make my mental health their priority. I have to make it my priority, and also start to analyze and really recognize what things will trigger a slip, you know what I'm saying? Or trigger me into like, okay, now I'm anxious and oh, where should I be? If I know sugar sets it off, if I know liquor sets it off, if I know weed sets it off, if I know these things are contributors to that, then you have to remove those things. You know, as an adult, as a conscious person, and a person who wants to have peace and stability, then you have to be responsible for that. So I lean on that. And then thirdly is my community. I talk with the people who are close to me, who love me unconditionally, and who have made it okay for me not to be okay. They don't try to fix it for me. They don't try to talk me out of whatever is happening. They can advise, but sometimes they don't, and that's okay. But I do rely and lean on community when I have to, when I need to.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Ms. Prana?
Well, and to add quickly on to the end of your thing, also I think mental wellness and mental health is knowing that you're constantly going to have to remind yourself that you have those tools at your disposal, and that healing is not linear by any means. You'll take 3 steps forward and then 2 back, because life can be traumatizing in general, and you just don't know what's going to, give you the push to get better or push you the opposite way. But understanding that both of those are normal and a part of the process of, finding peace. Mm-hmm. And I think with me and how I, approach my mental health and my mental wellness is definitely not having shame about it, which is really hard, because I think a lot of us have trauma based in shame. And, I think in the Black community, we often are don't complain, and other people have it worse, and, a lot of that. And so it makes you feel well, if someone has it worse, I shouldn't say anything about my problems. And it's well, that's not helping you either. Right. And so, and I have to remind myself, no, talk about, my mom said, to the people that are safe and that you can trust, go to them, and know that they're going to love you and have your back. And whether you need the advice at that moment or not, there's someone to lean on. And it's in vulnerability, albeit scary, does not have to be.
Yeah. And, for people who don't have, there are a lot of millions of people who do not have family, who live separate from their family, who are who don't easily make relationships, friend relationships, intimate relationships. There are a number of resources, state to state, that provide, emergency hotlines and emergency care where your mental health is concerned, or even organizations that advocate for funding for, any kind of counseling or therapy. Music Cares is one that really advocates for a lot of creatives getting mental health, like getting therapy, getting counseling, and again, being responsible for yourself and going ahead and seeking out, okay, if I'm in, Alabama, or if I'm in Jersey, or if I'm in New York City, or, New York State, any of these things, you can Google, toll-free hotline, suicide prevention hotline, the other websites that they can go to as well, or that I could go to, or Prana could go to advocate for yourself. We unfortunately live in a country that not only just mental health, but just healthcare in general is kind of like 100th on the list of importance, which is totally wrong. But because of that, we have to advocate for ourselves first.